Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. So this week I'm going to be talking about sharing my experiences as a consultant and what some schools do to really help me as a consultant in terms of logistics and helping set up different aspects of my visits. So if you're interested in finding out the top 5 things that schools do to really help me as a consultant, then please keep on watching. Okay, so previously I actually released a video about, so you want to be a consultant and some of the rules and guidelines that I like to follow myself so that I stay on top of things. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that schools do to help me as a consultant in terms of either logistics or planning. So one thing that some schools do, which is really helpful, is when I land in a foreign country, they actually supply me either with a SIM card or with just a local basic telephone in case I need to make local calls. And of course, this depends where you are in the world. Where if you're in a place where perhaps it's not English speaking or they're not speaking the language that you're used to, it's really important to have either a phone or some kind of way of contacting your hosts. So one thing that schools have done in the past to help consultants, especially in a foreign language, is give them a SIM card with the telephone numbers in case they need to contact them for any emergencies or any help. So first thing that you can help consultants do is give them a SIM card to help them move around and contact you if they need to. Now, the second thing that's really helpful for a consultant is to either have airport transfers and a pickup, especially if it's a new country and it's a country that doesn't speak your first language. For example, for me, it's English. And also school transfers, because sometimes if we're in a foreign place and we're not familiar with the transport system, it can be challenging to try and navigate and get yourself to different places when you're working in another language. So I find airport transfers or school transfers really helpful. And even if you are in an English-speaking country, it's still really helpful because it just helps the consultant, I think, feel really welcome. And that's just something that the consultant doesn't have to worry about in terms of transport. So the consultant just concentrates on delivering and facilitating a great workshop and change transformation and helping educators on their journey, on their learning journey. And the consultant then doesn't have to worry about trying to get transport, to and from the school and from the airport. Now, the third thing that I found really useful that some schools do is they give a little pack. And in that pack, there's the SIM card, there's information about the transfers, but also there's sometimes a city guide. It's a kind of like a tourist guide to help the visitor look at really important historical or cultural sites. And so I found that really useful. Yes, we can all Google and we can research it ourselves, but there is nothing better than a local recommending that you go to a particular cultural or historical site so that you learn more about the culture. So the third thing is to have some kind of guide in the places and the foods to eat as well. Now, the fourth thing that's really useful for a consultant is, of course, to have a setup meeting. And I would say that every single school I've ever partnered with, we always have a setup meeting. That could be a few weeks before the actual event where we talk about the setup. Or I actually like to set up the day before because it takes me a couple of hours to set up the space, the actual learning space. And so if that's not possible, then at least have a meeting to talk about how you want the learning space to be. Or you can always try and set up early the day of the workshop, but hopefully things can be set up beforehand so that the learning space is ready, it's conducive to learning as well as collaboration. Now, the fourth thing that's really important, I think, for schools to consider when they're engaging with a consultant, and most schools do this, I must say, is to co-create a plan. So to discuss with the consultant what kind of things you're looking for, give all the background information of the faculty, because that's information, that's really valuable information for the consultant to use in order to plan a series of different learning experiences. And I would say that every single school has a different culture and context. So I don't use a cookie cutter method where everything is the same for every single school. So having that co-creation of a plan and then discussing that, I think is really valuable, because I can kind of bring my knowledge and understanding and experience to the conversation. Schools can give me information that I may not know about, and together we co-create a plan that's best for the faculty. So the number 4 thing is to co-create a plan. And then the 5th thing is, I think either the consultant or the school should do a pre-workshop survey. And the survey really should be focusing on learning. You know, what does the faculty want to get out of the experience? And what are the shifts that they're hoping for? And these surveys should be designed so that they're quite topic specific. So as an example, if I'm going to take a faculty on the journey of concept-based curriculum and instruction, pre-K to 12, or subject areas, I think it's really important that we find out confidence levels of faculty members before my visit. And when I see the confidence levels and understanding in that pre-workshop survey, it helps me to plan which areas of concept-based curriculum instruction I should concentrate on and which I don't need to actually invest so much time in. So the 5 things that I found really helpful as a consultant that schools do is to either provide a SIM card or a really basic telephone, and to provide the telephone numbers of important people in case they need to call them, especially if you're in a foreign country. 2 is to help with either school transfers or airport transfers or some kind of transportation, so that the consultant doesn't really have to worry about, navigating a new place. The 3rd thing is maybe some tips about the place that the consultant is visiting, some cultural or historical sites to visit, or some wonderful foods to taste. Really important that there's a setup meeting. That could be a planning meeting of what the setup of the learning space should look like. And that could be done the day before or on the day, early in the morning. 4 is to co-create a plan with the consultant so that there's input from both sides and that you actually really address the culture and the context of every school. And then the last thing is, of course, a pre-workshop survey. Either the consultant can send it or the school can send it, and to really focus on the learning, like what shifts in learning, and be really specific as well in that pre-workshop survey on the topics that are going to be covered. There are 5 things that schools do that I found really helpful for consultants and for a really successful partnership. If you have any more ideas, please put them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.